Okay guys, so welcome back to another Lantern Ring segment, and I don't intend on making this a recurring thing. I'm probably going to do, at best, 2, maybe 3 more, maybe 4 at most, depending on how I feel, so I don't know if I'll make this a constant thing. So basically, this is where I take a show and talk about who would get lantern rings out of that show. Like, which characters embody the most emotions for those characters, and who would get lantern rings of those which of those characters would get lantern rings. Now, I am going to exclude the White Lantern and Black Lantern rings, because there's a lot of requirements to be a White Lantern, and you have to be dead for being a Black Lantern. So I'm just going to focus on the core emotional rings from the emotional spectrum. So, today, as you can tell, yeah, Gravity Falls characters. Now, this has probably been the most difficult one for me to tie down. I had to get some help from my friend on Comic Universe, Jay, to help me pinpoint who would be people to wield those rings. Who could wield rings out of all of the Gravity Falls characters. So, in that regard, let's get started with, of course, the Green Lantern ring. And I can think of no one better to wield the Green Lantern ring than Wendy. Wendy embodies everything that is meant to be a Green Lantern. She shows no fear, she overcomes great fear for those around her and for herself. She has her own anxieties, her own dangers, her own worries, but she doesn't let that bog her down. She gets the job done and protects her friends no matter what. She is right there to defend those around her. So, in that regard, she embodies everything that makes a Green Lantern a Green Lantern. So, absolutely, 100%, she is totally she is total Green Lantern material. So, there's not much else I could say. She would make a perfect Green Lantern. Now, moving on to the Blue Ring. Now, the Blue Ring, you have to have a lot of hope. You have to embody a lot of hope. And you may be thinking, well, Gravity Falls is full of a lot of pessimistic people and a lot of antagonistic people. There's no way a blue ring would go to somebody. That's where you're wrong. There is one character in particular in the Gravity Falls main cast that actually embodies everything a Blue Lantern is meant to be. And that person is Seuss. Seuss is definitely a hopeful person. He always wants to see the brighter side of things. He always has hope for the future, and for the future of his friends, his family, and for himself. He always looks on the brighter side and always has hope for those around him. He is always the brighter side of those around him. Even during Weirdmageddon, when all seemed lost, he always had his chin up and had his hope that they could come through this. And that's what a Blue Lantern is all about. So a blue ring would go... So the Blue Lantern would be Seuss. Could you just imagine him coming in with a Blue Lantern ring going, "All will be well, dudes." "Oh, dude, all will be well." Or something of that nature. So, Blue Lantern ring 100% would go to Seuss. Now we move on to the Star Sapphire. Of course, the violet ring of love. Now, which character in Gravity Falls has the most love? Just come on, guess. Randomly guess. Who would get the Star Sapphire ring? Did you guess Mabel? Because it's Mabel. Mabel embodies so much love for those around her. She embodies great love and great admiration for those around her. Her family, her friends, even random people and random monsters she has a lot of love for. So, she embodies everything that a Star Sapphire is and what a Star Sapphire stands for. So, she would get the Star Sapphire ring. Although I imagine when Mabel's trying to design her costume, Dipper would probably have some say in that. Like, no skin, no skin, please Mabel, do not, no, not the heels either. Yeah, so, because we all know Star Sapphire rings are, revealing. So, Dipper and the others probably have some say of how she would use her costume, use her ring to make a construct for her costume. So Mabel would definitely be the Star Sapphire ring. Now we come to the Indigo ring. Now the Indigo ring represents compassion, but like I have explained before in a few other videos, the Indigo ring is not for someone who holds great compassion inside them, it's someone who was given that compassion. It's someone who was granted that compassion by someone. It's like being given a second chance. And in that regard, the Indigo ring would go to Pacifica. Because, of course, she was given great compassion by Dipper, Mabel, and everyone else. she was shown that she could not be just a total bitch all the time and be given this ring, be given this kind of compassion that she never even felt from her parents. So, in that regard, Pacifica would wield the Indigo ring. So yeah, she would totally be part of the Indigo tribe. Now we come to the Orange ring. The Orange ring, of course, represents your greed. Your greed. The Orange ring is greed, avarice, everything you want. And gonna be honest, there's no one better to represent the the Orange Lantern of Avarice than Stan Pines. Yeah, Stan Pines is still, despite having a lot of love for his family and his friends and his his workers, his employees, Stan is still a greedy bastard. Like, he will still put money over people. He will still put money over everyone else in, he will just put money above everyone else. He will just put money and pride and fame above everyone else. So, Stan is definitely going to still get an orange ring. Because it's still Stan Pines. It's still him. What more can I say? It's still Stan. Anyway. So, moving on now to the Sinestro core ring. Now, the Sinestro core ring represents great fear, and the fear you instill. Now, of course, there's no doubt about it. It's Bill. Bill terrorized everybody. He scared everyone, from the monsters to the secret societies to everyone in Gravity Falls to when he first appeared in when he made his presence known to the rest of Gravity Falls in Weirdmageddon. He instilled great fear, even in the Time Agency, even in his underlings, even in the Henchmaniacs. He was the embodiment of fear. So it's an easy one, no doubt. Bill Cipher would get the Sinestro core ring. He would get the Sinestro core ring. And now we come to the final ring, which you're probably wondering, why did I save this one for last? Hey Zilla, why did you save the Red Ring of Rage for last? Because you usually do that right after Indigo. That's how it goes. So, the reason why I saved Red for last, because I have an interesting argument for who would wield the Red Lantern ring. Now, the Red Lantern ring, as I've explained before, but those who are newcomers into this little segment, the Red Lantern ring represents rage, but it's a specific kind of rage that someone has to wield in order to use it. And that rage represents righteous anger, or, you feel cheated, you feel angry over you wanted justice, but it was robbed from you, you wanted revenge, you want to use that rage righteously. So, in that regard, this was the one ring out of all of them that made me go, I really have to sit and think about this, and Jay and I, the person who helped me with this list particularly, had to sit and think on who would get this who would get the Red Lantern ring. Who would wield the Red Lantern ring? And the answer will shock you, because Dipper Pines, in my opinion, would wield the Red Lantern ring. Not Robbie, because he's just got anger. Dipper would wield the Red Lantern ring. And you may be thinking, that is the dumbest fucking thing I have ever heard. Hear me out. The reason why Jay and I concluded that Dipper would wield a Red Lantern ring is because his when he feels angry, it's always for a righteous reason in his own regard. He feels anger over not being able to protect Mabel, or not being able to be there with Wendy, or being there for Stan. He always feels this kind of righteous fury because he feels like he can't protect those before him. He always gets away because he's lucky. He always feels like he's never strong enough to protect those around him. So in that regard, the Red Lantern ring would call out to him. He would get the Red Lantern ring because his anger would build up from not being able to protect those around him. That's where the rage comes from, and that's where why the Red Lantern ring would pick him. So, there you go, guys. Dipper Pines would be a Red Lantern, in my solid opinion. But you guys tell me in the comments below, who in Gravity Falls could you see getting getting lantern rings? What do you think it's this list? Or do you think some other characters would get Red Lantern rings? just comment below, let me know, and once again, hope y'all enjoyed this, and I'm out.